Don't you love that in these modern times, us Tasmanians still catch crayfish the traditional way, in handmade wooden pots, the same way we've done so for generations. There's something very special about catching a crayfish, but it is an activity that carries a bit more risk than others, so there are a few things to bear in mind.
The excitement of seeing red in your pot is real.
Here it comes, here it comes. There's red, I can see red. We've got crays. Have a look at that for crays.
Tasmania is blessed to have southern rock lobster accessible to catch around most of the state, and each year there are plenty of recreational boaters out there trying their luck.
Just a bit of the thrill of the chase, I guess. You know, every boat's got different ideas on how to put bait in the pots, what rocks to go to, and everyone's got their own little secret spots. And I guess it's just unlocking those little secret spots every year, and it's just a bit of a thrill about the time to get into it.
The first thing to bear in mind when setting a pot is Tassie's ever-changing weather, and to make sure you're up to date with the latest forecast.
Making sure before you go, you can actually go back and retrieve your craypots. It might be calm when you put your pots in, but the next day that weather could change. So making sure that you're looking and reading the forecast in advance so you know what those conditions might do.
There's plenty of good up-to-the-minute weather forecasts available online, so this should be the first thing you check when deciding when and where to set a pot. If it's going to be windy, think about wind direction and possible lee shores, which will make the next morning's retrieval process dangerous.
When you're coming into your pot, just take a step back, have a look at what swell's coming onto the shore, have a look and see what the conditions are doing before you head in. If you're not quite sure, then it's probably not worth getting the craypot. A feed of crayfish isn't worth it.
The safest way to set a pot is with a bit of preparation.
Right, just going to put the bait in now, Higgsy. Okay, you ready, mate?
Yep, all ready here.
Coming up to a good spot here.
Good, just let me know when you want me to throw it.
Rightio, go.
Back you go.
Marked it on the sounder.
Yep, all clear.
That looked good.
Yep. All good. All clear.
And remember, the skipper and the crew need to always be keeping an eye on what's going on around them.
When you're craypotting, there can be other obstacles around when you're trying to manoeuvre around close to shore. There can be other pots, lines, and obviously if you're coming in, you need to be aware of what's around you so you don't get your line caught around your prop. And approaching your pots and nets and bits and pieces in the right manner is also important when you are coming to pick them up.
Preparation is also important. Bait up nice and early and know the rough depth you are going to be fishing, meaning you can have your lines prepared.
Always prepare your bait when you're setting your craypot. It's always a good idea to sort of get a bit of an idea on how deep a water you're potting in, sort of get that line prepared on deck so that when you do throw your pot over and you find that right spot, you can pay your line out over the side and keep it away from your prop and your boat. And then that also cuts the time down having to recall lines and eliminates that time where you could potentially get a bit tangled up. How much water we got here, Hop?
13.9.
13.9 metres. Should have enough rope here then. Looks like we've got enough. I'll just do a quick measure. Just clip these floats on. Nice and tight. Put your red buoy on just in case it cuts up a bit in the morning so we can see them. Yep, got about 15 metres there, so we should have plenty for out here. You don't want more than 2 or 3 metres of line on the surface that's just floating free because it can be a hazard to boaties.
And remember, in deeper water, the tide and current can also pull your pot line under.
You may need to add a second buoy to your pot so it's visible. You can put a red buoy on your pot so it's clearly visible, and that also helps in the tide situation. You're generally more affected by tides in deeper water. What will happen is the rope will be taken down by the tide, which then puts pressure on your floats. And the tide sometimes can be different to the way the wind's blowing. Knowing what's going to affect that pot when you're coming back, whether it's the effects of tide or wind, and which way that rope's laying, so you can pick it up in a safe manner.
Breeze is going to be offshore tomorrow, so it'll be good to pick up in the morning.
Yep, rightio. I'll make the line up a little bit shorter then just so we can get at it if it is.
Mind you, I wouldn't be doing it in this close if the weather was going to turn.
No.
After a good night's sleep, it's time to retrieve your pot.
Okay, you got your bait hook, mate? We'll
Yep.
go in and get it.
Got it ready to go. Looks like the rope's laying out to the east, so we should be right to pick it up.
Just coming in alongside, come in on the starboard side.
Yep, I'm ready out the
Use the
starboard
hauler.
side.
The first thing it's important to remember is to approach your pot upwind, bow into the breeze, so you're not going to blow back onto the line, meaning potential tangles. It's best if you can have a skipper always at the helm of the boat while communicating with the person pulling their pot.
Out of gear, back in gear. Should be able to get that.
Yep, I've got it.
Nothing.
Nothing in that one. Always communicating with the person who might be on deck behind you, so the driver can focus on keeping those lines and things clear. But if you do blow over the pot, just take a step back, don't put the boat in gear, have a look and see where that line's going. If you can safely go forward or reverse, then do so. But if in doubt, just throw the rope back over the side, let the pot float off and reapproach. We know that a lot of our incidents are happening in boats 6 metres and under, and a lot of different style of boats, runabouts and tinnies. So just talking to your crew, making sure that we keep that excitement under wraps until the pot might be on deck. If everyone rushes over to one side, things could get out of hand and the boat could potentially capsize. So just bearing that in mind.
These techniques also work for retrieving cray rings or nets. Take your time and don't put yourself in danger.
Come on, pot. Here it comes, here it comes, here it comes, here it comes. Now, I'm allowed 2 crayfish, so I have to throw one back, but I'll measure them.
That there is a size crayfish heart.
Right, size crayfish.
The rules for recreational cray fishing in Tasmania are strict, so it pays to be up to date on the latest rule changes. Licences, size limits and pot limits apply, and Tasmanian Marine Police are a regular sight around the state. The best place to get up-to-date rules is at fishingtas.gov.au.